Hello. Yeah. Hi everybody, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Uh-oh, did we not run this last night, or did we? We did, yes. Good. Good, good. Good morning, Christina. Good morning, Becca. Happy to have you, Christina. Let's see, I'm on my tippy toes. Can I get this out? Yes, yes, I can, and I did. Hooray for me. Good job, Mommy. You've got out the collagen peptides so that we can all be a little healthier. Hooray! There we go. There we go. Okay, hold on. Oops. All right, here we go. She is asleep, Liz. Yeah. Hey, Victoria. Yeah, she's been asleep for about 10 minutes already, so I've already marked it and everything. She is out like a light. My new schedule has really been working. Like, I've really been killing it schedule-wise, you guys, with this kid for morning naps. I really figured it out with her. What we do is we wake up by 7:30 and we play for a little while, and then I take a shower. She sits in the bouncer while I shower in there with me so that I can see her clearly. And then after I shower and get dressed, I feed her and she sleeps. It's phenomenal. Ever since I started doing that, she slept through at least half of book club each time. Not all, but at least half. So we're making progress. I sleep better after showering through here. That's right. That's right. So I don't know. I love that she can sleep on the bed. Oh yeah, no, she sleeps actually maybe even better on me. She loves sleeping in the carrier. It's true. She's a big kid. Is Becca filtered? I don't know. Did she say something? I walked away for a second, so I'm not sure. But she does. She sleeps really well in the carriers. What am I doing? Did I just get filtered for saying it looks so? Probably. You probably did. Well, you probably did. Probably did. How's everyone doing today? Good morning. Is everyone excited for Roll for Slime tomorrow to be April Fool's style? I think it's going to be really fun and very funny. At least I hope so. I think it's going to be funny. I have some fun plans. Oh, this is empty. Yeah. Shenanigans. I don't know, Liz, but we can always make one. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at who's signed up for what day yet, to be honest, but I think we're gonna have to like do extra people because it's such a fun concept. I didn't have a good weekend. My birthday is... Your birthday's on the 8th. Oh my gosh! Happy almost birthday. That's very exciting. My aunt's birthday is the 11th. Do I know any other April babies? I can't think if I do. I cannot think if I do. It's Mark's birthday also. That's so funny. I'm trying to figure out childcare for tomorrow because I can't miss another day of work. Oh gosh. What's going on? What's been happening? They won't let you work remote with the baby by any chance? I know that not everyone has that luxury and it's not fun. 102 fever, ay. Oh my gosh, Susan, I'm so sorry. Oh, yeah. Well, we're doing something special for that, aren't we, Amanda? Hey. Yeah, fevers are scary. There was one, I had this weird problem where I registered temperature wrong. So I thought that our baby had a fever at one point. Turns out I'm just extra cold. Oh, it came down with Tylenol, that's good. I thought she had a fever, but it turns out I'm 97 degrees. So even when she's normal, she feels warm to me, so that's fun. He's begging for a slimy doesn't. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting that I'm making it today, provided that this tiny human will let me work. We'll see. I always think he has a fever and he's always normal. Yeah, I made it, but I don't know if I'll stay the whole time because I'm on Oh, a very fussy baby. Well, Stephanie, you know what we learned? We learned that sometimes me reading makes fussy babies calm down. So give that a go and see if it works. My mom is sick, so she can't watch him. Oh, God. That's so awful, Susan. Oh my God. Oh, it's okay, Roxy. We were all just telling you happy birthday. Well, almost. Today I have a Patreon meeting at 10, so hopefully we'll get some new interesting insights there. I don't know if we will, but I hope to find out some interesting stuff for you all there. What else is going on today? More videos, more packing orders, yada, yada, yada. Yes, staying out of the ER is a huge blessing. Hey, Isabella, how are you? Video capability, please, Amanda, please. Don't even get me started. You know my feelings on the matter. There's so many things that I wish that we could do. Why can't people send me DMs and photos and DMs? I'd love to know. Yeah, it's weird. I always touch her and I'm always like, oh my God, does she have a fever? And my husband's like, well, let's check. And we do. And it's like, no, not even close. Good morning. Hey, Ray. Guys, Ray managed to flip slime holding her 7-year-old in a carrier like this. Not this type, but similar. It would be nice to be able to send photos. It would be nice, Roxy, I agree. I'm gonna bounce for a second because we're starting to stir and we want to avoid that. So let's just get back to sleep before we go to the chair. Let's get back to sleep before we go to the chair. Papa has to go to the vet today. Oh no. Oh, poor thing. Oh. Okay, I think we're good. We're good. Okay. Let's go. Let's go. I went the wrong way. I shouldn't have come this way. It's harder to walk this way. It's okay. I managed it. It's okay. It's okay. Everything is okay. It is okay. All right. I'm sitting down. I'm putting the phone on the tripod. Yes, may the odds be ever in my favor. Okay. Okay. One more sip of coffee. Morning, Catherine. Okay. I know. I have to tell you guys, I have a video coming for you. Miles' hair is getting darker. Did you see the shock on my face just now? Sasha's in for a treat. Wait, why am I in for a treat? Okay. I have to tell you guys, I have a very, very fun, cute video. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Well, you'll have to tell me about it, Becca. You're both emotional. Okay, well, I love to be here for you. I don't have any sun, or I'd offer you some. As you can see behind me, we have no sun here today. But what I will tell you is I think I have something that might make you less cranky or less tired, you know. Oh, crummy anniversary. Yeah. Oh, yes, that is true. That is true. Well, I have put together, I have to edit it a little bit, but I have a compilation video because this little lady is starting to vocalize a lot. So we caught a lot of her little words. They're not real words, they're sounds, obviously, like coos and stuff, but she's obviously trying to say something, and I put them together. Yes, baby snuggles are the best. 4 years still like, oh, but it's so good that they still snuggle. But I'm going to put together a video where you guys can hear all the little sounds that she's making now because they are so cute. Like, it's adorable. It's not, it doesn't, it looks like it did rain, but it's not currently raining, if that makes sense. Yes, what comfort food? That's a great question, Liz. But yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Did you send me a DM here on TikTok or elsewhere? Because my DMs on TikTok are blocked, unfortunately, so I wouldn't be able to get that. But if you would like to contact me, there is a contact form on my website, and that is always open, and it comes directly to my phone. So after the book club, I can check that. Your outside look exactly like mine, except I'm in Maine. Yeah, see, that's the problem, Catherine. I'm in California, so I should have sun, because I pay sunshine tax. And I know that because I'm doing my taxes. I did my taxes yesterday, and I'm going to finish them today. And let me tell you, you guys, it's not cute. Taxes are going to wreck me this year. Wreck. Yeah, definitely contact form on the site. You can always email me there. Okay, shall we read chapter 6? We are reading the original Hunger Games for anyone who did not know. Same with mine's Snow in Idaho. Oof, 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 oof. You requested to message Isabella. I thought you were going to message me on Instagram, not here on TikTok. Isn't that true? Our taxes are almost as high as yours. Oof, really? Oh, God. I mean, yesterday my husband was joking after we started doing the taxes that we should move to Washington because there's no income tax. And I said if he could convince my sister and the kids to go too, that I would go. It still has to request. Oh, I did not know that. That's very interesting. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting if I don't get a lot taken off by the deductions. Oh, I'm sorry, Roxy, that's not good. On your personal, not saying, okay, I'll check that later. There's none in Wyoming either. I don't think I could handle Wyoming, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I could do that. Washington, I think I could do. I lived in Washington when I was a kid. Seattle, I think I could do. Maybe, but I hate rain, so maybe not. Anyway, let's read. Here we go. Hey, Marigold. So we will read chapter 6 today. The training center has a tower designed exclusively for the tributes and their teams. This will be our home until the actual games begin. Each district has an entire floor. You simply step onto an elevator and you press the number of your district. Easy enough to remember. I've ridden the elevator a couple of times in the Justice Building back in District 12. Once to receive the medal for my father's death, and then yesterday to say my final goodbyes to my friends and family. But that's a dark and creaky thing that moves like a snail and smells of sour milk. The walls of this elevator are made of crystal so that you can watch the people on the ground floor shrink to ants as you shoot up into the air. It's exhilarating, and I'm tempted to ask Effie Trinket if we can ride it again, but somehow that seems childish. Apparently, Effie Trinket's duties did not conclude at the station. She and Hamish will be overseeing us right into the arena. In a way, that's a plus, because at least she can be counted on to corral us to the right places on time, whereas we haven't seen Hamish since he agreed to help us on the train. He's probably passed out somewhere. Effie Trinket, on the other hand, seems to be flying high. We're the first team that she's ever chaperoned that made a splash at the opening ceremonies. She's complimentary about not just our costumes, but also how we conducted ourselves. And to hear her tell it, Effie knows everyone who's anyone in the capital, and she's been talking us up all day, trying to win us sponsors. I've been very mysterious, though, she says, her eyes squinted half shut. Because, of course, Hamish hasn't bothered to tell me your strategies, but I've done my best with what I had to work with. How Katniss sacrificed herself for her sister, how you both successfully struggled to overcome the barbarism of your district. Barbarism?
That's ironic coming from a woman helping to prepare us for slaughter, and what she's basing our success on is what? Our table manners? Everyone has their reservations, naturally, you being from the coal district, but I said that this was very clever of me, I think. Well, if you put enough pressure on coal, it turns to pearls. Effie beams to us so brightly that we have no choice but to respond enthusiastically to her cleverness, even though she's wrong. Coal doesn't turn to pearls, those grow in shellfish. Probably she meant that coal turns to diamonds, but that's untrue too. I've heard that they have some sort of machine in District 1 that can turn graphite into diamonds, but we don't have graphite in District 12. That was part of District 13's job until they were destroyed. I wonder if the people she's been plugging us to all day either know that or care. Unfortunately, I can't seal those sponsored deals for you. Only Hamish can do that, says Effie grimly. But don't worry, I'll get him to the table at gunpoint if necessary. Oh, Mary Poppins is a wonderful book. Although lacking in many departments, Effie Trinket has a certain determination that I do have to admire. My quarters are larger than our entire house back home. They're plush, like a train car, but they also have many automatic gadgets that I'm sure I won't have time to press all the buttons on. The shower alone has a panel with more than 100 options you can choose, regulating water temperature, pressure, soap, shampoo, scents, oils, and massaging sponges. And when you step out onto the mat, heaters come on that blow dry your body. So instead of struggling with the knots in my wet hair, I merely place my hand on a box that sends a current through my scalp, untangling, parting, and drying my hair almost instantly. It floats down around my shoulders in a glossy curtain. I program the closet for an outfit to my taste. Windows zoom in and out on parts of the city at my command. You only need to whisper a type of food from a gigantic menu into this mouthpiece, and it appears, hot and steamy, right before you in less than a minute. I walk around the room eating goose liver and puffy bread until there's a knock at the door. Effie's calling me to dinner. Good, I'm starving. I know, right, Aurora? We all need that. Claire, sorry, I reverted back to calling you Aurora, but I know you're Claire. Peta, Cinna, and Portia are all standing on a balcony that overlooks the Capitol when we enter the dining room. I'm glad to see that the stylists, particularly after I heard that Hamish will be joining us, are there. A meal presided over by just Effie and Hamish is bound to be a disaster. Besides, dining isn't really about the food. It's about planning out our strategies, and Cinna and Portia have proven how valuable they really are. A silent young man dressed in a white tunic offers us all a stemmed glass of wine. I think about turning it down, but I've never had wine, except for the homemade stuff that my mother uses for coughs, and when will I ever get a chance to try it again? So I take a sip of the tart, dry liquid, and I secretly think it could be improved with just a couple spoonfuls of honey. Hamish shows up to dinner just as it's being served. It looks as if he's had his own stylist, because he's clean and groomed and about as sober as I've ever seen him. He doesn't refuse the offer of wine, but when he starts in on his soup, I realize this is the first time I've ever seen him eat. Maybe he really will pull himself together long enough to help us out. Cinna and Portia seem to have a civilizing effect on Hamish and Effie. At least they're addressing each other decently now, and they both have nothing but praise for our stylist's opening act. While they make small talk, I concentrate on the meal. Mushroom soup, bitter greens with tomatoes the size of peas, rare roast beef sliced as thin as paper, noodles in a green sauce, cheese that melts on your tongue served with sweet blue grapes. The servers, all young people dressed in white tunics like the one who gave us wine, move wordlessly to and from the table, keeping the platters and the glasses very full. About halfway through my glass of wine, my head starts feeling foggy, so I can change to water instead. I don't like the feeling, and the hope wears off soon. How Hamish can stand walking around with this stuff in him full time is a mystery. I try to focus on the talk, which has turned to our interview costumes. When a girl sets a gorgeous looking cake on the table and deftly lights it, it blazes up, and then the flames flicker and around the edges all the while until it finally goes out. I have a moment of doubt. What makes that burn? Is it alcohol? I say, looking up at the girl. That's the last thing. Oh, I know you. I can't place a name or a time to the girl's face, but I'm certain of it. The dark red hair, the striking features, the porcelain white skin. But even as I utter the words, I feel my insides contracting with anxiety and guilt at the sight of her, and while I can't pull it up, I know something bad is in my memory that's associated with her. The expression of terror that crosses her face only adds to my confusion and unease. She shakes her head in denial quickly and hurries away from the table. When I look back, the 4 adults are watching me like hawks. "Don't be ridiculous, Katniss. How could you possibly know an Avox?" snaps Effie. "The very thought of it." "What's an Avox?" I ask stupidly. "Someone who committed a crime. They cut her tongue out so she can't speak," says Hamish. "She's probably a traitor of some sort. Not likely that you'd know her." That's really funny, Becca. "And even if you did know her, you're not speaking to one of them unless it's to give an order," says Effie. "Of course you don't really know her." But I do know her, and now that Hamish has mentioned the word traitor, I remember where from. The disapproval is so high that I could never admit it. "No, I guess not. I stammer, and the wine isn't helping." Peeta snaps his fingers. "Deli Cartwright. That's who it is. I kept thinking that she looked familiar as well, and then I realized she's a dead ringer for Deli Cartwright." Deli Cartwright is a pasty-faced, lumpy girl with yellowish hair who looks about as much like our server as a beetle looks like a butterfly. She may also be the friendliest person on the planet. She smiles constantly at everyone in school, even at me, and I've never seen this girl with the red hair smile, but I jump on Peeta's suggestion gratefully. "Yeah, of course, that's definitely who I was thinking of. It's gotta be the hair, I guess," I say. "Yep, something about the eyes too," says Peeta, and the energy about the table relaxes. "Oh well, if that's it," says Cinna. "Yes, the cakes have spirits, but the alcohol has all burned off. I ordered it specially in honor of your fiery debut." We eat the cake and move into a sitting room to watch the replay of the opening ceremonies that's being broadcast. A few of the other couples make a nice impression, but none of them can hold a candle to us. Even our own party lets out an as they show us coming out of the Remake Center. "Whose idea was the hand-holding?" asks Hamish. "Cinna's," says Portia. "Just the perfect touch of rebellion," says Hamish. "Very, very nice." That does check out on you. Rebellion? I have to think about that one a moment, but when I remember the other couple standing stiffly apart, never touching or acknowledging each other, as if their fellow tribute didn't exist, as if the games had already begun, then I know what Hamish means. Presenting ourselves not as adversaries but as friends has distinguished us as much as those fiery costumes. "Tomorrow morning is the first training session. Meet me for breakfast and I'll tell you exactly how I want you to play it," says Hamish to Peeta and me. "Now go get some sleep while the grown-ups talk." Peeta and I walk together down the corridor to our rooms, and when we get to my door, he leans against the frame, not blocking my entrance exactly, but insisting that I pay attention to him. "So, Deli Cartwright, imagine finding her look-alike here." "Aw, hi, sweet baby." He's asking for an explanation, and I'm tempted to give him one. We both know that he covered for me, so here I am in his debt again. If I tell him the truth about the girl, somehow that might even things up. How can it hurt, really? Even if he repeated the story, it couldn't really do me much harm. It was just something I witnessed, and he's lied just as much as I have about Deli Cartwright. I realized that I want to talk to someone about the girl, someone who might be able to figure out her story. Gale would be my first choice, but it's unlikely that I'll ever see Gale again. I try to think if telling Peeta could give him any possible advantage over me, but I don't see how. Maybe sharing a confidence will actually make him believe that I see him as a friend. Besides, the idea of the girl with her maimed tongue frightens me. She's reminded me of why I'm here, not to model flashy costumes and eat delicacies, but to die a bloody death while the crowd urges on my killer. To tell or not to tell. My brain still feels slow from the wine, so I stare down the empty corridor as if the decision lies there. Peeta picks up on my hesitation. "Have you been on the roof yet?" I shake my head. "Cinna showed me. You can practically see the whole city from there. Wind's a bit loud, though." I translate this into "no one will hear us talking" in my head. "You do have the sense that we might be under surveillance everywhere here. Can we just, go up?" I ask. "Sure, come on," says Peeta, and I follow him to the flight of stairs that leads to the roof. There's a small dome-shaped room with a door to the outside, and as we step into the cool, windy evening air, I catch my breath at the view. The Capitol twinkles like a vast field of fireflies. Electricity in District 12 comes and goes. Usually we only have a few hours of the day. Often the evenings are spent by candlelight, And the only time you can count on the electricity is when they're airing the games or some important government message is on television that's mandatory for us to watch. But here, there would be no shortage of electricity. Ever. PETA and I walked to the railing at the edge of the roof, and I looked straight down the side of the building to the street, which is buzzing with people. You can hear their cars, an occasional shout, a strange metallic tinkling. In District 12, we'd all be thinking about bed right now. I asked Cinna. Really? Oh, good burp. Good burp, sweet girl. Good burp. Yeah. You're doing great. I asked Cinna why they let us up here. Weren't they worried some of the tributes might jump right off the side? Says PETA. And what did he say? I asked. You can't. Aw, they're talking. You have another baby talking to you. That's so nice. That's so nice, baby's chit-chatting. I love that. That's so cute that he's making noises at her. You have a friend. You have a book club friend. Baby book club. Okay. There you go. You're out. How do you like that? What did he say? I asked. Well, you can't, says PETA, and he holds his hand out to a seemingly empty space. There's a sharp zap, and he jerks it back. Some kind of electric field throws you back onto the roof. Huh, they're always worried about our safety, I say. Ember loves your noises too. They're all complaining to each other. We have 3 babies in book club now. Oh, wow. That's a full club. Yeah, 2's a pair, 3's a club. Even though Cinna has shown PETA the roof, I wonder if we're supposed to be up here now so late and alone. I've never seen tributes on the training center roof before, but that doesn't mean we're not being taped. Do you think they're, watching us? Baby. Hi, sweetheart. Yeah, maybe they are, he admits. Come on, let's go see the garden. On the other side of the dome, they've built a garden with flower beds and potted trees. From the branches hang hundreds of wind chimes, which account for the tinkling I heard. Here in the garden, on this windy night, it's enough to drown out 2 people who are trying not to be heard. PETA looks at me, expectantly. I pretend to examine one of the blossoms. We were hunting in the woods one day, hidden, waiting for a game, I whisper. You and your father? He whispers back. No, my friend Gail. Suddenly, all the birds stop singing at once except for one. It's as if we were giving a warning call, and then that's when we saw her. I'm sure it was that same girl. A boy was with her. Their clothes were tattered, and they had dark circles under their eyes from no sleep. They were running as if their lives depended on it, I say. And for a moment I'm silent, and I remember how the sight of this strange pair, clearly not from District 12, fleeing into the woods immobilized us. And later, we wondered if we could have helped them escape, and perhaps we might have. Concealed them, if we'd moved quickly. Gail and I were taken by surprise, yes, but we're both hunters. We both know how animals look at bay, and we knew that that pair was in trouble as soon as we saw them, but we only watched. Then a hovercraft appeared out of nowhere, I continued to PETA. I mean, one moment the sky was empty, and the whole next, it was just there. It didn't make a sound, but they saw it. A net dropped down onto the girl, and it carried her up fast, so fast, like an elevator. They shot some sort of spear through the boy. It was attached to a cable, and then they hauled him up as well, but I'm certain the boy was dead. He heard the girl scream once. It was the boy's name, I think. I don't know. And then it was gone. The hovercraft, I mean. It vanished into thin air, and the birds began to sing again, as if nothing at all happened. Did they see you? Asked PETA. I don't know. We were under a shelf of rock, I reply, but I do know. There was a moment after the bird call, but before the hovercraft, when the girl had seen us. She locked eyes with me, and she called out for help, but neither Gail and I responded. You're shivering, says PETA, and the wind and the story had blown all the warmth from my body. I heard the girl scream. Had that been her last scream? PETA takes off his jacket and wraps it around my shoulders, and I start to take a step back, and then I let him, deciding for a moment to accept both his jacket and his kindness. A friend would do that, right? I just give Sasha a warning. My daughter loves for life. She's permanent friends with you. Oh, that's so sweet. What a sweet baby girl. We love to hear it. We love kids. Zoe's like that too. Zoe's a good kid like that. They were from here? He asks, securing a button around my neck. I nod. They'd had that capital look about them, the boy and the girl. Where do you suppose they were going? He asks. I don't know, I say. District 12 is pretty much the end of the line. Beyond us, there's only wilderness, if you don't count the ruins of District 13 that still smolder from the toxic bombs. They show it on television occasionally just to remind us. Or why would they leave here? Hamish called the Avoxes traitors, but against what? It could only be against the capital, but they had everything here. There was no cause for them to rebel. I'd leave here, Peter blurts out, and then he looks around nervously. It was loud enough to hear above the chimes. He laughs. I'd go home now if they'd let me, but you have to admit, the food here is pretty prime. He's covered again, and that's all you'd hear. It would just sound like a lot of words scattered from scared tributes, not someone contemplating the unquestionable goodness of the capital. It's getting chilly. We better go in, he says. Inside the dome, it's warm and bright. His tone is conversational. Your friend, Gale. He's the one who took your sister away at the reaping? Yeah, why? Do you know him? No, not really. I hear the girls talk about him a lot. I thought he was your cousin or something like that. You favor each other. No, we're not related, I say. Peeta nods, unreadable. Did he come to say goodbye to you? Yeah, I say, observing him carefully. So did your father, though. He brought me cookies. Peeta raises his eyebrow as if this is news, but after watching him lie so smoothly, I don't really give it much weight. Really? Huh. He likes you and your sister. I think he wishes he had a daughter instead of a house full of boys. The idea that I might have been discussed around the dinner table at the bakery fire, just in passing in Peeta's house, gives me a start. It must have been while the mother was out of the room. He knew your mother when they were kids, says Peeta. Another surprise, but probably true. Oh, yeah, she did grow up in town. It seems impolite to say that she never mentioned the baker except to compliment his bread. We're at my door then, and I give him back his jacket. See you in the morning, then. See you, he says, and walks off down the hall. And when I open my door, the red-headed girl is collecting my unitard and boots from where I left them on the floor before my shower. I want to apologize for probably getting her in trouble earlier, but I remember I'm not supposed to speak to her unless I'm giving an order. Oh, sorry, I say. I was supposed to get those back to Cinna. I'm sorry. Can you take those to him? She avoids my eyes and gives a small nod and heads out the door. I'd set out to tell her that I was sorry about dinner, but I know that my apology runs much deeper than that, that I'm ashamed that I never tried to help her in the woods, that I led the capital to kill that boy and mutilate her without lifting a finger, just like I was watching the games. I kicked off my shoes and climbed under the covers in my clothes. The shivering hasn't stopped. Perhaps that girl doesn't even remember me. No, I know she does. You don't forget the face of the person who was your last hope. I pull the covers up over my head as if this will protect me from the red-headed girl who can't speak, but I feel her eyes staring into me, piercing through the walls, the doors, the bedding. I wonder if she'll enjoy watching me die.
Yikes. Yikes.
That is sad, though. I mean, I understand. It's hard. You know, they're kids. They wanted to help. I know, it is dark. It's like you're caught between a rock and a hard place when you want to help, but you can't because you know that, like, you're providing for your whole family, and if you run the risk of you know, losing everything. Sorry, there's something on my screen. There we go. Okay. Let's see, what time is it? Oh, it's early still. Okay, we probably could read chapter 7. Let's do it. It's what, is it just 9 or 9:02? It's hard for me to see. Let's see if I do this, if I can see. 9:03? No, what am I doing? Oh yeah, it's 9:03. Okay, great. That was weird. Yeah, we should be able to finish this. We have a half hour. Okay, let's go. The 9:03s just scroll on through. That's hilarious. That's how you know that there's a delay from the comments, like from what I say to what's coming through back to me. Okay, chapter 7. My slumbers are filled with disturbing dreams. The face of the red-headed girl intertwines with the gory images from earlier Hunger Games, with my mother's withdrawn and unreachableness, with Prim emaciated and terrified. I bolt up, screaming for my father to run as the mines explode into a million deadly bits of light. Dawn is breaking through the windows. The capital has a misty, haunted air. My head aches, and I must have bitten into the side of my cheeks in the night. My tongue probes the ragged flesh there, and I taste blood. Slowly, I drag myself out of bed and into the shower. I arbitrarily punch buttons on the control board and end up hopping foot to foot as alternating jets of icy cold and steaming hot water assault me, and then I'm deluged in lemony foam that I have to scrape off with a heavy bristled brush. Oh well, at least my blood is flowing. When I'm dried and moisturized with lotion, I find an outfit that's been left for me at the front of the closet: tight black pants, a long sleeve burgundy tunic, and leather shoes. I put my hair into the single braid down my back. This is the first time since the morning of the reaping that I reassemble myself. No fancy hair and clothes, no flaming capes, just me, looking like I could be headed for the woods, and this calms me. Hamish didn't give us an exact time to meet for breakfast, and no one's contacted me this morning, but I'm hungry, so I head down to the dining room hoping that there will be food. I'm not disappointed. While the table's empty, a long board off to the side has been laid with what it looks like 20 dishes. A young man, an Avox, stands at attention by the spread, and when I ask him if I can serve myself, he nods assent. I load the plate with eggs and sausages, battered cakes covered in thick orange preserves, slices of pale purple melon. As I gorge myself, I watch the sun rise over the Capitol. Ooh, that's a poignant line after the most recent book. I have a second plate of hot grain that's smothered in beef stew, and finally I fill a plate with rolls, and I sit at the table, breaking off bits and dipping them into the hot chocolate the way Peeta did on the train. My mind wanders to my mother and Prim. They must be up. My mother's getting breakfast of mush ready. Prim is milking her goat before school. Just 2 mornings ago I was home. Can that even be right? Yeah, just 2. And now, how empty the house feels even from a distance. What did they say about my fiery debut at the games last night? Did it give them hope, or did it simply add to their terror when they saw the reality of 24 tributes circled together, knowing that only one of them could live? Hamish and Peeta come in, bidding me good morning, filling their plates. It makes me irritated that Peeta's wearing the exact same outfit I am. I need to say something to Cinna. This twin act is going to blow up in our faces once the games begin. Surely they must know this. And then I remember Hamish telling me to do exactly what the stylists tell me to do. If it was anyone but Cinna, I might be tempted to ignore him, but after last night's triumphs, I don't have a lot of room to criticize his choices. I'm nervous about the training. There will be 3 days in which all the tributes practice together. On the last afternoon, we'll get the chance to perform in a private ceremony before the game makers. The thought of meeting the other tributes face to face makes me queasy. I turn the roll that I have just taken from the basket over and over again in my hands, but my appetite's gone now. When Hamish has finished several platters of stew, he pushes back his plate with a sigh. He takes a flask from his pocket and takes a long pull on it. It leans on his elbows on the table.
All right, so let's get down to business. Training. First off, if you like, I'll coach you separately. You gotta decide now.
Why would you coach?
Yeah.
I took that opportunity to get myself some coffee.
Why would you coach us separately, I ask.
I don't know, say if you had a secret skill you might want the other one not to know about,
says Hamish, and I exchange a look with Peeta.
I don't have any secret skills, he says, and I already know what yours is, right? I mean, I've eaten enough of your squirrels.
I never thought about Peeta eating the squirrels that I shot. Somehow I always pictured the baker quietly going off and frying them up for himself, not out of greed per se, but because town families usually eat expensive butcher meat, beef and chicken and horse. You can coach us together, I tell Hamish, and Peeta nods.
All right, so give me an idea of what you guys can do,
says Hamish.
I can't do anything, says Peeta, unless you count baking bread. Sorry, I don't. Katniss, I already know you're handy with a knife,
says Hamish. Not really, but I can hunt, I say, with a bow and arrow.
And you're good at that?
Asks Hamish. I have to think about it. I've been putting food on the table for 4 years, and that's no small task. I'm not as good as my father was, but he'd had more practice. I've got better aim than Gale, but I've had more practice than him too. And he's a genius with traps and snares, so I just say, yeah, I'm all right.
She's excellent, says Peeta. My father buys her squirrels, and he always comments on how the arrow never pierces the body. She hits everyone in the eye. It's the same with the rabbits that she sells to the butcher. She can even bring down a deer.
This assessment of my skills from Peeta takes me totally by surprise. First, that he even noticed it. Second, that he's talking me up.
What are you doing? I ask suspiciously. What are you doing? If he's going to help you, he has to know what you're capable of. Don't underrate yourself, says Peeta.
I don't know why, but this rubs me the wrong way. And what about you? I've seen you in the market. You can lift 100 pounds of flour bags, I snap at him. Tell him that. That's not nothing.
Yeah, and I'm sure the arena is going to be full of bags of flour for me to just chuck at people. It's not like being able to use a weapon, and you know it isn't, he shot back. He can wrestle, I tell Hamish. He came in second in our school's competition last year only after his brother. What use is that? How many times have you seen someone wrestle someone to death? Says Peeta out of disgust. There's always hand-to-hand combat, and all you need to do is come up with a knife, and then you'll at least stand a chance. If I get jumped, I'm dead. I can hear my voice rising in anger. But you won't. You'll be living in some tree, eating raw squirrels and picking people off with arrows. You know what my mother said to me when she came to say goodbye as if to cheer me up? She said, maybe District 12 will finally have a winner. And then I realized that she didn't mean me. She meant you, bursts out Peeta. Oh, she meant you, I said with a wave of dismissal. She said, she's a survivor, that one. She is, says Peeta, and that pulls me up short. Did his mother really say that about me? Did she really rate me over her son? I see the pain in Peeta's eyes, and I know he isn't lying, and suddenly I'm behind the bakery, and I can feel the chill of the rain running down my back, the hollowness in my belly. I sound 11 years old when I speak, and I say, but only because someone helped me once. Peeta's eyes flicker down to the rolls in my hands, and I know that he remembers that day too, but he just shrugs. Yeah, people will help you in the arena. They'll be tripping over each other to sponsor you. No more than you, I say. Peeta rolls his eyes at Hamish. She has no idea the effect she can have. He runs his fingernails along the wood grain of the table, refusing to look at me. What on earth does he mean? People help me? When we were dying of starvation, no one helped me. No one except for Peeta. Once I had something to barter with, then sure, yeah, things changed. I'm a tough trader. Or like, am I? What effect do I have? That I'm weak and needy? Is he suggesting that I got good deals because people pitied me? I tried to think if this is true. Perhaps some of the merchants were a little generous with their trades, but I always attributed that to their long-standing relationship with my father. Besides, my game is first class. No one pitied me. I glower at the roll, sure he meant to insult me. After about a minute of this, Hamish says, well, then. Well. Katniss, there's no guarantee that there'll be bows and arrows in the arena, but during our private session with the game makers, let's show them what you can do. Until then, you stay clear of the archery. Are you any good at trapping? I know a few basic snares, I mutter. All right, that may be significant in terms of food, says Hamish. And Peeta, she's right. Never underestimate the power of strength in the arena. Very often, physical power tilts the advantage to a player. In the training center, they're going to have weights, but don't reveal how much you can really lift in front of the other tributes. That plan's the same for both of you. You go into the group training, spend time trying to learn something you don't already know. Throw a spear, swing a mace, learn how to tie a decent knot. Save showing what you're really good at until the end with your private session. Are we clear about that? Says Hamish. Peeta and I nod. One last thing. In public, I want you by each other's side every minute, says Hamish. We both start to object, but Hamish slams a hand down on the table. Every minute. It's not open for discussion. You agreed to do as I said. You will be together, and you will appear amiable to each other. Now get out of here. Meet Effie at the elevator in 10 minutes for training. Yeah. I bite my lip and I stalk back to my room, making sure that Peeta can hear the door slam. I sit on the bed, hating Hamish, hating Peeta, hating myself for mentioning that day long ago in the rain. It's such a joke. Peeta and I going to pretend to be friends, talking up each other's strengths, insisting on taking credit for the abilities that they have, because in fact, at some point, we're going to have to knock it off, and we're going to be better adversaries, which I'd better be prepared to do right now, and I'd be better prepared if it wasn't for Hamish's stupid instructions that we have to stick together at the training. It's my own fault, I guess, for telling him that he didn't have to coach us separately, but that didn't mean that I wanted to do everything with Peeta, who, by the way, clearly doesn't want to be participating with me either. I hear Peeta's voice in my head. She has no idea, right? The effect she can have? Obviously, he meant that to demean me, right? But a tiny part of me wonders if that was a compliment, that he meant that I was appealing in some sort of way. It's weird how much he's noticed me, like the attention he's paid my hunting, and apparently I've not been as oblivious to him as I imagined either. The flour, the wrestling. I kept track of the boy with the bread. It's almost 10. I clean my teeth and I smooth back my hair again. Anger temporarily blocked out my nervousness about meeting the other tributes, but now I can feel the anxiety rising again. By the time I meet Effie and Peeta at the elevator, I catch myself biting my nails, so I stop at once. The actual training rooms are below ground level of our building. With the elevators, the ride is less than a minute. The doors open to an enormous gymnasium filled with various weapons and obstacle courses. Although it's not yet 10, we are the last ones to arrive. The other tributes are gathered there in a tense circle. They each have a cloth square with their district number pinned to their shirt. While someone pins the number 12 on my back, I do a quick assessment. PETA and I are the only two dressed alike. As soon as we join the circle, the head trainer, a tall athletic woman named Adela, steps up and begins to explain the training schedule. Experts in each skill will remain at their stations and will be free to travel from area to area as we choose, per our mentor's instructions. Some of the stations teach survival skills, while others teach fighting skills. We're forbidden to engage in any combat exercise with another tribute. There are assistants on hand if we want to practice with a partner. When Adela begins to read down the list of skill stations, my eyes can't help flitting around to the other tributes. It's the first time we've been assembled, all on level ground in simple clothing. My heart sinks. Almost all of the boys and at least half the girls are bigger than I am. Even though many of the tributes have never been fed properly, you can see in their bones, in their skin, in the hollow look in their eyes. I might be smaller naturally, but overall, my family's resourcefulness has given me an edge on that. I stand straight. While I'm thin, I am strong. The meat and the plants from the woods, combined with the exertion it took to get them, have given me a healthier body than most that I see here around me. The exceptions are the kids from the wealthier districts, the volunteers, the ones who have been fed and trained throughout their lives just for this moment. The tributes from 1, 2, and 4 traditionally have this look about them. It's technically against the rules to train tributes before they reach the capital, but it happens every year. In District 12, we call them career tributes, or just the careers. And like as not, the winner will probably be one of them. The slight advantage I have coming into the training center is my fiery entrance from last night, but that seems to vanish in the presence of my competition. The other tributes were jealous of us, but not because we're amazing, because our stylists were amazing, and now I see nothing but contempt in the glances of the career tributes. Each must have 50 to 100 pounds on me. They project arrogance and brutality, and when Adela releases us, they head straight for the deadliest looking weapons in the gym, and they handle them with ease. I'm thinking that it's lucky I'm a fast runner when PETA nudges my arm and I jump. He's still beside me per Hamish's instructions. His expression is sober. All right, where would you like to start? I look around at the career tributes who are showing off, clearly trying to intimidate the field, and then at the others, the underfed, the incompetent, shakily having their first lesson with a knife or an axe. I suppose we should tie some knots, I say. Right you are, says PETA, and we cross to an empty station where the trainer seems pleased to have students. You get the feeling that the knot tying class is not the Hunger Games hotspot. When he realizes I know something about snares, he shows us a simple but excellent trap that will leave a human competitor dangling by a leg from a tree. We concentrate on this one skill for an hour until both of us have mastered it, and then we move on to camouflage, and PETA genuinely seems to enjoy this station. Swirling a combination of mud and clay and berry juices around on his pale skin, he's weaving disguises from vines and leaves. The trainer who runs the camouflage station is full of enthusiasm at his work. I do the cakes, he admits. The cakes? I ask. I've been preoccupied with watching the boy from District 12 send a spear through a dummy's heart from 15 yards away. What cakes? At home. The iced ones for the bakery, he says. He means the ones on display in the window, fancy cakes with flowers and pretty things painted in frosting. They're for birthdays and New Year's Day. When we're in the square, Prim always drags me over to admire them, although we'd never be able to afford one. There's little enough beauty in District 12 that I can hardly deny her to look at this. I look more critically at the design on PETA's arm. The alternating pattern of light and dark suggests sunlight falling through the leaves in the woods, and I wonder how he knows this, since I doubt he's ever been beyond the fence. Has he been able to pick this up just from scraggly old apple trees in his backyard? Somehow the whole thing, his skills, those inaccessible cakes, the praise of the camouflage expert, it all just annoys me now. It's lovely. If only you could frost someone to death, I say. Don't be so superior. You can never tell what you're going to find in the arena. But maybe it's going to be an actual gigantic cake, he begins. I say we move on. I break in. So the next 3 days pass with PETA and me going quietly from station to station, and we do pick up some valuable skills from starting fires to knife throwing to making shelter. Despite Hamish's order to appear mediocre, PETA excels in hand-to-hand combat, and I sweep the edible plants test with without blinking an eye. We steer clear of archery and weightlifting, though, wanting to save those for our private sessions. The game makers appeared early on the first day, 20 or so men and women dressed in deep purple robes. They sit in the elevated stands that surround the gymnasium, sometimes wandering about just to watch us, jotting down notes, and other times they're eating at the endless banquet that's been set out for them. They're ignoring the lot of us then. But they do seem to be keeping their eye on the District 12 tributes. Several times I've looked up to find one fixated on me. They consult with the trainers during our meals as well. We see them all gathered together when we come back. Breakfast and dinner are served on our floors, but at lunchtime, all 24 of us eat dinner together in a dining room of the gymnasium. Food is arranged in carts around the room, and then you serve yourself. The career tributes tend to gather rowdily. I don't know what's wrong with me, you guys. The career tributes tend to gather rowdily around one table, as if to prove their superiority, that they have no fear of one another, and they consider the rest of us beneath notice. Most of the other tributes sit alone like lost sheep. No one says a word to us. Peta and I eat together, and since Hamish keeps dodging us about it, we try to keep up friendly dogging us, not dodging us. Hamish keeps dogging us about it. We try to keep up friendly conversation during the meetings. It's not easy to figure out a topic, though. Talking of home is painful, talking of the present is unbearable, and one day Peta empties out our bread basket and points out how they've been careful to include different types from the districts along with the refined bread from the capital. The fish-shaped loaf is tinted green with seaweed from District 4, the crescent moon is dotted with seeds from District 11, and somehow, although it's made from the same stuff, it looks a lot more appetizing than the ugly biscuits that are the standard fare at home. And there you have it, says Peta, scooping the bread back into the basket. You certainly know a lot, I say. Only about bread, he says. Okay, now, laugh as if I've said something funny. Go ahead. We both give a somewhat convincing laugh and ignore the stares from around the room. All right, I'll keep smiling pleasantly at you, and you talk, says Peta. It's wearing both of us out. Hamish has directed us to be friendly, because ever since I slammed my door, there's been a chill in the air between us. We both have our orders, though. Did I ever tell you about the time I was chased by a bear? I ask. No, but it sounds fascinating, says Peta. I try and animate my face as I recall the event, a true story, in which I'd foolishly challenged a black bear over the rights to a beehive. Peta laughs and asks questions right on cue. He's much better at this than I am. On the second day, while we were taking a shot at a spear throwing, he whispers to me, I think we have a shadow. I throw my spear, which I'm not too bad at actually if I don't have to throw it too far, and I see a little girl from District 11 standing back a bit watching us. She's the 12-year-old, the one who reminds me so much of Prim in the stature. Up close, she looks about 10 years old. She has bright, dark eyes, satiny brown skin, and she stands tilted on her toes with her arms slightly extended to her side, as if ready to take wing at the slightest sound. It's impossible not to think of a bird. I pick up another spear while Peta throws. I think her name's Rue, he says softly. I bite my lip. Rue is a small yellow flower that grows in the meadow. Rue, Primrose. Neither of them could tip a scale at 70 pounds soaking wet. What can we do about it? I ask him more harshly than intended. Nothing to do, he says. Just making conversation. Now that I know she's there, it's hard to ignore the child. She slips up and joins us at different stations. Like me, she's clever with plants, climbs swiftly, and has good aim. She can hit the target every time with a slingshot, but what is a slingshot good against 220-pound male with a sword? Back on District 12, Hamish and Effie back on the floor for District 12. Hamish and Effie grill us through breakfast and dinner about every moment of the day. What did we do? Who watched us? How do we size up the other tributes? Cinna and Portia aren't around, so there's no one to add sanity to these meals. Not that Hamish and Effie are fighting anymore. Instead, they seem to be of one mind, determined to whip us into shape, full of endless directions about what we should and should not do in the training. Peta's more patient, and I become fed up and surly. When we finally escape to bed that second night, Peta mumbles, Someone ought to get Hamish a drink. I make a sound that's somewhere between a snort and a laugh, and then I catch myself. It's messing with my mind, too, trying to keep straight if we're supposedly friends and then we're not. And when we get into the arena, I'll know where we stand. Don't. Let's pretend when there's no one Sorry. There we go. I got it.
Ember's asleep. Oh, good. We did it. We put them both to sleep. Don't. Don't let's pretend when no one else is around. All right, Katniss, he says tiredly. And after that, we only talk to each other in front of people. On the third day of training, they start to call us out for lunch for private sessions with the game makers. District by district, first the boy, then the girl tribute. And as usual, District 12 is slated to go last. We linger in the dining room, unsure of where else to go. No one comes back once they've left, and as the room empties, the pressure to appear friendly lightens. By the time they call Rue, we're left alone. We sit in the silence until they summon Peeta, and then he rises. Remember what Hamish said about being sure to throw the weights. The words come out of my mouth without permission. Oh, don't even worry, Isabella. Don't worry at all. Thanks, I will, he says, and you, shoot straight. I nod. I don't know why I said anything at all, although if I'm gonna lose, I'd rather lose to Peeta than the others. Better for our district, better for my mother, and Prim. After about 15 minutes, they call my name. I smooth my hair, I set back my shoulders, and I walk into the gymnasium. Instantly, I know I'm in trouble. They've been here too long, the game makers, that is. They sat through 23 other demonstrations. They've had too much wine, most of them. They want more than anything to go home. There's nothing I can do but continue with the plan, so I walk to the archery station. Oh, the weapons. I've been itching to get my hands on these for days. Bows made of wood and plastic and metal and materials I can't even name. Arrows with feathers cut into the flawless formed lines. I choose a bow and I string it, and then I sling the matching quiver of arrows over my shoulder. There's a shooting range, but it's much too limited. Standard bullseye, human silhouettes. I walk to the center of the gymnasium, and I pick my first target, the dummy used for knife practice. Even as I pull back on the bow, I know something's wrong. The string's tighter than the one I use at home. The arrow's more rigid. I miss the dummy by a couple of inches and lose what little attention I had been commanding. And for a moment I'm humiliated, and then I head back to the bullseye, and I shoot again and again until I get the feel of these new weapons I miss. Back in the center of the gymnasium, I take my initial position and skewer the dummy right through the heart. And then I sever a rope that holds the sandbag for boxing, and then the bag splits open and it slams to the ground. Without pausing, I do a shoulder roll forward and I come up on one knee, and I send an arrow into one of the hanging lights above the gymnasium floor. A shower of sparks bursts from the fixture. It's excellent shooting. I turn to the game makers, and a few of them are nodding in approval, but the majority of them are fixated on the roast pig that has just arrived to their banquet table, and suddenly I'm furious. With my life on the line, they don't even have the decency to pay attention to me. That I'm being upstaged by a dead pig pisses me off, and my heart starts to pound. I can feel my face burning, and without thinking, I pull my arrow into my quiver, and I send it straight at the game maker's table. I hear shouts of alarm at the people stumbling backwards, and the arrow skewers the apple in the pig's mouth and pins it to the wall behind them. Everyone stares at me in disbelief. Thank you for your consideration, I say, and then I give a slight bow, and I walk straight towards the exit without being dismissed. It is an awesome scene. I agree. It's an absolutely genius scene. Absolutely genius scene. Very well done. So iconic. Completely agree. Literally fire. Yes, I agree with all of you. Well. Dun 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 indeed. Okay, so we will not have a live tonight. It's an amazing part. We will not have a live tonight for two reasons. The first is that Secret Husband has late meetings this evening, so he cannot hold the baby. But also I need to do extra preparation for tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to have a very different Roll for Slime, because it's April Fool's. Don't forget, if you signed up for the April Fool's Roll for Slime, there are no re-rolls, and it could be wild, okay? Is the group birthday Roll for Slime. If enough people want to do birthday, I'm happy to do birthday tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely. But don't forget, there are no re-rolls, and you get what you get, and you don't get upset, and it could be totally wackadoodle. We have some really hilarious charms that are going to be in this one, stuff you guys have never seen before. It's going to be really fun and really different, all wild, all silly, because it's April Fool's Day, and I like it too. No gross sense. That's right, no gross sense. Bye, Ray, see you later. It's all going to be good sense, but the charms and that kind of stuff is what's going to be wild. So, like,
It's just gonna be, there's gonna be a lot of silly stuff, but no gross sense. No, nothing like that. So yeah, it is gonna be fun to watch. Yeah, no, Liz, you'll like it, Liz. You're gonna have fun with it. Anyone who doesn't care what texture they get is gonna like it, because if you need a specific texture, it won't work for you. But other than that, it's just gonna be fun. I don't want to give any spoilers, but there's some really silly stuff in it. Yeah, silly stuff, huh? So I'm gonna try to fit more people in than usual tomorrow, which will be good. Like, I know I said we were only accepting, I know, the neck rolls, isn't that hilarious? She's got so many rolls. I love every roll. I love every roll. I made those rolls. I made those rolls. She's still passed out. Yes, Roll for Slime Chaos. I know. If there's more people than what I can do tomorrow, what I will do is I will have another day later this month that we'll call, like Roll for Slime Chaos or something like that. I don't think it matters that that it doesn't need to be actual April Fool's Day. I think it's just funny. She's my little angel. She is literally passed out, you guys. She does not care that I'm speaking at full voice. Your kids only get neck rolls. They're skinny babies. Other than that, she was a really skinny baby for most of it, and it does keep us on our toes, yeah. But she has my hair in her mouth. How did you get that? Gross. She has gained leg and arm rolls recently. It's a recent development, but I love them. They're delicious. I just want to nibble on them all day. Can I nibble on your rolls? And guess what? She doesn't have a snuffy nose anymore. Oh, she was born chunky but grew tall. Interesting. She was the opposite. She was born skinny but grew chunky. You were born little thin baby, but you have gotten your chunk. That is for sure. You have chunk now. So anyway, I'm going to go because I have a Patreon meeting at 10 a.m. that I need to get ready for. We're going to do the rest of our taxes, and then we're going to get ready for tomorrow's Roll for Slime. Yes. And hopefully we're going to make Connor's Roll for Slime today too, because I got those charms. I can't wait for you guys to see them. It's so good. They're so good, you guys. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.